It's my pleasure being with you today on Class Online School. I am going to take effects of pollution under our basic science subject. Our previous topic on basic science, we discussed pollution. But on that class, we mentioned the three types of pollution we have. We have soil pollution, water pollution, and air pollution. And we explain what these pollutions are. Today, we are taking still under environmental pollution, which is going to be environmental pollution 3, because we dealt with environmental pollution 1 and 2 in our previous classes. Today we are taking the effect of pollution. What are the effects of pollution in our environment? There are many. The list, it's many, but we are going to take some of them. We are going to talk about effects of pollution as it affects our respiratory tract. Then, how pollution destroys organisms, waterborne diseases, and then poor plant yield. But on this episode, we are going to take these first two effects of pollution as it affects our respiratory system, and effects of pollution as it affects the organisms that lives in our environment. So let's try to take these two. Then in our next episode, we will take how pollution affects water and plants. So let's take these two. Now let's try to understand what the respiratory tract is. The respiratory tract has to do with those organs that helps us in taking in air, breath, into our systems. And these organs are, we have the nose, we have the mouth, we have the lungs, and then we have the bronchia or the diaphragm. Now, what do we have seen what our respiratory tract is. Then we will talk about the infection that affects the respiratory tract. But before we talk about the infection that affects the respiratory tract, the diagram you are going to see on the whiteboard is going to show you a diagram of the respiratory system. And you are going to see the nose, the mouth, the lungs, the diaphragm, the trachea, and the bronchia. These areas are referred to as the respiratory tract. So, having seen what the respiratory tract is and the organs involved in the respiratory tract, now, what are the effects of pollution on this tract? We take in air, because we've told you that the respiratory system is that area of our body that we use to take in breath into our system. And remember in our previous class, I told you that air pollution, it's one of the pollution that have actually caused harm to our environment. We take in air. And sometimes we take in toxic air, pollutant air that is not fit for our general well-being. And so when we take in this toxic air, this air that are infected, it causes a problem to our system, and it can cause infection. What are some of those infections that we might suffer as a result of environmental pollution? One of them is running nose. But before I talk about the running nose, the respiratory system has upper respiratory tract and lower respiratory tract. So the disease I want to mention now are diseases that affect the the upper respiratory tract. For example, we'll talk about running nose, which most of us know as catarrh. Running nose is a result of taking in dusty air, substances that ordinarily is not fit for the system. And so when you breathe in this air, you find out that it has effects in the system. You start sneezing, you start running nose, and because you have this running nose, the system becomes unstable. And once the system becomes unstable, you are not fit as an individual to carry out some functions. So one of them has to do with running nose. Another effect that the pollution will take into the respiratory tract cause for us is sore throat. If you've been very sick, you notice that sometimes you have sore throat, and sometimes suddenly you find out that you have sore in your throat. To take in saliva becomes a problem, to drink water becomes a problem, to swallow food becomes a problem. It's as a result of infection in the respiratory tract. Then we have dry cough. These are the effects of pollution in our respiratory tract. Sometimes we have cough, dry ones. And once you are having this cough, you might not be at rest. You have problems sleeping, you have problems doing activities that you would have gotten involved in. Then there are times too, because of the running nose, the sore throat, the dry cough, you start having headache, and you will not be okay. And many a times this leads to having fever. You have mild fever. Now what about if our diaphragm or our bronchioles are affected, which is the lower respiratory organs? If these areas are affected, you find out that you have difficulty in breathing. You have this kind of chest tightness in you, and you become very uncomfortable. It can deteriorate to the extent that you find it difficult to take in oxygen into the system, and you see your skin getting blue because the system is not getting enough oxygen to fuel the system. Then, in rare cases, you see the person having very serious fever. All these are as a result of having respiratory tract disease. And most times it's as a result of pollution in the environment, environmental pollution that we experience, that most times leads to us having this problem. So you see that pollution is a major problem to humans. Not only to humans, to other organisms, even plants and animals that lives in our ecosystem. And so, when we go to our next class, when we'll talk about, or in our next episode when we'll talk about control measure, we are going to see some things we can do to control these pollutant effects. Even if we cannot eradicate it or remove it in its totality, we will see what we need to do to help ourselves. Having talked about this, we see the second bullet point, which is on destruction of. So we have seen the effects in this first bullet point. Now, destruction of organism is the next bullet point. In our ecosystem, humans alone are not the occupants. We have insects, we have plants, we have animals, and we have other microorganisms we can't see with our eyes. But do you know that pollution has effects on these other organisms, including humans? We have good organisms that would have made life easier for us. But because the pollutant nature of the environment makes it difficult for them to function very well. So, organisms are affected by pollution because this pollution can sometimes eradicate them out of the system. And once they are either killed or driven out of the vicinity where they are supposed to operate, you find out that those things that these organisms would have done on their own, they won't be able to do it. And humans, the system, the environment suffers the effect. So it will be better if we take care of our environment so as not to suffer too much from the pollutant nature of this. For example, in the ocean, when we have oil spillage or toxic waste deposited in the water, what happens to lively organisms that lives in there? Most of them dies because toxic substances have been introduced into their habitats. Their natural habitats have been tampered with, and they will not be able to function well. Sometimes they die off. Then sometimes on land, we find out that once this toxic substance or pesticides are sprayed in a particular area, or herbicide, either pesticide or herbicide, there are organisms it affects, and it will kill these organisms because a toxic substance have come to interfere with their natural habitat. So it's a big problem. It's a big problem. Pollution have actually taken the life of many persons, and pollution is still causing havoc on our environment. This will be all for our class for today. In our next class, we are going to discuss the effects of pollution on the water we take in, and then the plant yield that you and I have. Until our next class, and if you wish to enjoy our next class and follow along as we discuss more on pollution, please be part of that class so that you will equally benefit. It was a pleasure having you on Class Online School. Always drop by. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. If you have friends this video will help, share it. If you are a parent, you are an auntie, or whoever you are, and you know that you have people of this age range in the JS classes, it's part of the curriculum. You can download it for them. Thank you for being part of our community. Until our next episode, I'll see you then on Class Online School. It's goodbye from me to you. Bye.